Dear adventurer, if you are reading this, then you no doubt understand and appreciate the value of an eventful and meaningful journey just as I do. Chronicled within these journals are tales of the places I have gone and people I have met. From the front lines of war-torn Europa to undiscovered ruins with tremendous significance to all mankind. From a man who saved me more times than I can count, to the many women who have accompanied me during my travels. As I write this, I am an old man on what may be my final adventure. I have lived a long and interesting life that has taken me to every corner of this wondrous world, and I hope that by reading the tales I recount herein, you too may be able to glean some enjoyment from them. Perhaps you may even learn a bit about yourself in the process. Signed, Adol Kristen.
So you may be asking yourself, what is Ys? Or maybe you may have heard of it, but not know much about it. Now this series has been around as long as The Legend of Zelda has, although it has never risen to the level of prominence that Zelda has. And many people may wonder, why is that? Why is this series not on the same pedestal when its lore is just as, if not deeper, than The Legend of Zelda? Well, maybe there are things that factor into that, such as Nihon Falcom not putting as much emphasis on its Western and global releases as it does its Japanese releases. Or maybe it's because the series has always lived in the shadow of Zelda, with many people thinking it no more than a clone with no substance of its own. And I'm here today with this first episode in the Legendary Mythos series, where we dive not only into the world of Ys, but into the legend of Adol the Red, the two goddesses, the primordials, and more. So let's begin. Act 1, The Legacy of Ys, Beginning of the World. In the beginning of creation, there existed many deities that are now known as gods, and many races of people. There existed the winged ones, known as the Eldeen, the primordials, known as the Saurons, and chief amongst them being the Eternians. There also exists demons. There is also the Great Tree of Origins, The gods of tritheism, consisting of a trinity of gods, being Holst, the sky god, Gortheos, the sea god, and Maya, the earth goddess. There are the 5 dragons of Voltago, and the being known as Rule End, root of all existence, brought forth by the ritual of demise initiated by the elders of Iska, which will bring about a means to ending and recreating the very essence of life in a never-ending cycle. The 5 dragons of Voltago are deities living in the northern area of the African continent. The 5 dragons are as follows: Radamanj, the earth dragon who governs over growth and age; Anguibaro, the flame dragon who observes the use of power; Mu Anti, the wind dragon who monitors peace; Obalan, the sea dragon who watches over prosperity; and Zikalios, the moon dragon, who tends to global harmony. They are immortal beings that have existed since the beginning, and they existed before the Eldeen civilization. They exist to curate and preserve the balance of all life. The wind of destruction, called forth by the elders of Iska, will summon forth the Rule End, root of all existence. Its aim is to end all life entirely, from the Eldeen to the humans and all that lives on the planet, including nature, leaving the world a barren rock. This dire situation would prompt the 5 dragons into action in order to prevent the apocalypse from happening, as they serve as a counterbalance to Rule End, and will summon forth the prophesized dragon warrior who stands to answer the call of duty and prove the worthiness of all life in the current cycle, and battle the maiden of demise in order to prevent the wind of destruction. And should the hero succeed, then life will continue on and Rule End will be sealed again. However, should the dragon warrior fail, then the 5 dragons must reset the world and all life will be reborn again. The role of the dragon warrior is selected by the 5 dragons to rebalance the disturbances of Voltago, without the need to resort to the annihilation of all life. This eternal recurrence has occurred innumerable times since antiquity. However, it must be stated that this event has never been prevented by any chosen dragon warrior in the history of our world. Like the Rule End and the Wind of Destruction, there also exists the Great Tree of Origins, located in the center of the Isle of Siren, and its evolutionary cycle has periodically causes a cataclysmic event called the Lacrimosa, which destroys most of the world's life forms and alters the planet's environments, and only the species chosen by the Great Tree to receive its blessings of evolution can survive. For every era ended by the Lacrimosa, one of the brightest souls is chosen to become a warden of evolution, an immortal being tasked with observing the earth and the evolutionary process. Though not much is known of this civilization, and while much is lost in the vastness of history, there also existed an ancient species known mainly as the Primordials, or the Saurians, of which the most well-known of the Primordials is the Eternians, a human-like race that existed long before humanity, and who went on to establish the Kingdom of Eternia. This kingdom was founded by the Light King Alkia. He was a sage who had received a mysterious power called the Essence, which he received from the Great Tree of Origins, and went on to build the capital of Agaius, next to the Great Tree. With the Essence, the Eternians were able to go on and establish a civilization booming with technology, more advanced than anything of the people of the current era, and they worshipped the Great Tree of Origin and established a clergy around the Maiden of the Great Tree, which was closely knit into the government and daily lives of the citizens of Eternia. Do not fret, for the story of the Maiden will be told in due time. The Winged Ones, known as the Eldeen, are the progenitors of the ancient civilization that existed before any recorded history of Ys. They are the ones who constructed the Atlas continent, which is due west of the Ys world map, and Canaan Islands. The Eldeen enjoyed great prosperity and were no different than humans, with the exception being that they had made tremendous advancements in technology using a sacred metal known as Emelis, which is a special sort of metal created from minerals known as Emel that has magical properties with the capability of creating life. Emelis is one of, if not the strongest metal in existence. There exist 5 Emelis that are known, and it is possible to create: blue, red, gold, black, and white Emelis. The Eldeen were able to craft many artifacts of legend, such as the Akashic records containing the world's blueprints detailing the structure of the world, as well as the Mask of the Sun, which is the control key of the Akashic records, as well as the Black Pearl, which is an item of antiquity which contains immeasurable magical power capable of amplification and transference, as well as creating the special material known as Claria, and also the fabled Ark of Nephishtim, which they used to control the sea levels rising around Atlas in order to prevent those without wings, such as the humans and the Rita. They eventually advanced so much technologically that they were able to transfer their souls into the winged bodies made of white emulus. Since their white emulus bodies were perfect copies of flesh, they emulate growth, albeit very slowly, and are still capable of reproduction. Their wings and their general nature are also hereditary. When the required magical power to preserve their bodies disappears, the capabilities of white emulus also disappears and changes into a stone-like material, as they add flexible magical wings and also possess a variety of mysterious powers. Humans across the world worship them as divine messengers. The Eldeen would ultimately come to use an artifact called the Mother of Spirits to birth children, born naturally with the bodies of white emulus, and because of their new forms, the Eldeen are known as the Winged Ones by those of the world. As both humans and demi-humans would migrate to the continent, the civilization would reach its greatness. One Eldeen, Adol, left the Eldeen civilization with the Akashic records and the Mask of the Sun, and found residence in Salsetta, where he met and befriended the hero king Lafons, and assisted him in the creation of a great kingdom. Adol also planted a Roto tree that would converse with him and assist in governing over all life in Salsetta. Roto trees can only converse with those of the Eldeen lineage, and a race of creatures called the Ru, as the tree only speaks in the ancient language of the Eldeen. With the help of Adol, Hero King Lafons created the Dragon Soldier, Sol Galba, the White Galba, which became a servant to his bloodline. Using the Akashic records, Eldeen guided the people of Salsetta for centuries of prosperity and peace. The Akashic records is an artifact that contains the world's blueprints, including structure, properties, knowledge of the past and future. It is worth mentioning that changes can be made in the real world that differs from what the Akashic records have predicted. The Mask of the Sun is the only key that can directly alter the Akashic records, and is used primarily to keep balance in the world when things go astray. Two winged Eldeens, Fina and Rhea, were put in charge of the Black Pearl and helped 6 humans who were skilled in magic to build the great kingdom of Ys, which resided just north of Salsetta. These humans would later become the honored 6 priests: Tova, the priest of power; Dabi, the priest of light; Adol, the priest of earth; Mesa, the priest of time; Gemma, the priest of wisdom; and Fact, the priest of spirit. The goddesses then rooted the 2 Roto trees in which they could converse with and help govern over life in Ys. They were named the elder brother and the younger brother respectively. With the blessings of the Black Pearl controlled by white emulus was the power to augment a silver metal called Claria. It is imbued with some of the most powerful magical properties in the history of Ys. With the glory of these miracles at their disposal, the people of Ys believed their radiant prosperity would shine on forever. During this era of peace and prosperity, humanity had come to learn the art of crafting emulus, and were able to craft red, blue, and gold emulus. Yet they could not craft white and black emulus. The Eldeens did not teach the humans how to make the black and white emulus because of the immense power contained within them, and knew that they could not be controlled easily. Despite this, humans would continue to try and create emulus, and no matter the method they used, they always failed with their attempts, always turning to ash emulus, and with that ash emulus, the humans would go on to create living weapons of cataclysmic powers known as the Dragon Soldiers, for their own personal uses in warfare. Due to the nature of humanity, they became dissatisfied with the powers that they wielded, and went on to steal the secrets of making the black and white emulus from the Eldeens. The humans stole the Master Key, Alamarian, for the Ark of Nephishtim, and raided the Ark in a vain attempt to gain knowledge and power from it. The consequences of the humans doing this caused the Ark to go berserk and raise the sea levels ultimately flooding the Atlas continent and Canaan Islands. And Eldine, Alma, was able to prevent the flooding of the world by using her body consisting of the white amulet to seal the Ark of Nephishtim. This sacrifice of Alma, while not saving the continent of Atlas as it was destroyed, did allow many of the winged ones to ascend to the heavens, as most, if not all, the winged beings chose sublimation at this point, which is to cross to a spiritual existence only. Due to this catastrophe, only a few of the Eldine civilization survived, as primarily the younger ones chose not to sublimate, and their current way of life had come to an end. Along with the demi-humans and humans, they fled to various parts of the Eurasia continent. The humans and demi-humans that did not escape, as well as the group that held back the Ark of Nephishtim, remained and later became the inhabitants of Canaan Islands. As a result, a complex lineage of mixed bloodlines from humans, demi-humans, and winged beings could be found in the natives of the Canaan Islands. Most of the people were driven to seek shelter in Solomon's Shrine, where the goddesses Fina and Rhea lived. The goddesses and the 6 priests were able to use the power of the Black Pearl to raise Solomon's Shrine into the heavens, away from the chaos. The 6 priests originally attempted to use the Black Pearl to try and create a magical material similar to Amulet. Due to the geographical differences in the region, a magical metal called Claria was born instead, with characteristics and principles that were different from Amulet. As their control of the Black Pearl was imperfect, this also became the birth of demons and the root of their problems for the future, as the unchecked usage of the Black Pearl gave birth to the demonic essence, the twisted embodiment of the Black Pearl's will that corrupts any and everything that it comes into contact with, and thusly brought into the world demons. It took a little time for the demons to react. A great tower was erected, and winged creatures came soaring through the sky. The crisis that wrought havoc upon the land had begun ascending for a second round in the air. This tower, known as the Dharm Tower, consists of 25 high-ceiling floors and is so grand it could only be seen from most places in the northwestern continent of Eurasia. So we've covered a lot of ground here. We talked about the creation of the world, the various deities, the fail-safes to reset the world with the Rule End and the Lacrimosa, the various heroes and legends that make up this world, and there's so much more to talk about. So get ready. Act 2, the goddesses and the books of Ys, and the next episode of The Legacy of Ys.
Hey, you made it to the end of the video. Congratulations, and I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, why don't you make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and share it with someone you think would enjoy it. You can catch me on all social media platforms from Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and more. And if you enjoy the content and you want to support the channel, there's Patreon as well as channel memberships. Links for everything are down in the description below. And with that being said, this is Mekel Kasanova signing out. I enjoy you guys. You guys have a wonderful day. Aloha and mahalo.